Imagine a place that's meant to be your safe haven, your true home, suddenly becoming the source of your deepest fears. What if the very things that make you unique also make you, well, a suspect?
It's a really chilling thought, isn't it? And it's exactly what we're diving into today. We're unearthing the early chapters of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, a story that shows us how even a world as wondrous as magic can harbor um, ancient prejudices and, frankly, terrifying secrets.
Our mission today is to extract the most compelling nuggets of insight from this classic tale. We'll explore complex themes like identity, prejudice, truth versus perception, and those hidden dangers that can lurk right in plain sight. We're going to uncover some truly shocking facts and pivotal moments that shape Harry's second year at Hogwarts.
Yeah, and our source for this deep dive is, well, it's the detailed narrative itself, charting Harry's really tumultuous journey from a miserable summer right into the heart of a terrifying school mystery. So, let's begin where Harry's second year truly kicks off, with what he considers his worst birthday ever.
Absolutely. We find Harry Potter about to turn 12, stuck back with the Dursleys, where, let's be honest, every birthday has been bad. His life there is just miserable. They are cruel, they neglect him, and they absolutely despise magic. He's forced to sleep in that dark cupboard under the stairs, often sent to bed without food. He's small and thin for his age. What does this immediate plunge back into his sort of deprived reality tell us about Harry's enduring resilience?
It's such a powerful setup, isn't it? This isn't just a miserable birthday, it's a stark reminder of his past. A past where his parents were killed by Lord Voldemort, whose name wizards still fear to speak, and he was sent to live with the Dursleys for his own protection, by Dumbledore. Their cruelty and hatred for him, simply for being different, for being magical, it really highlights the profound vulnerability beneath all that fame he doesn't even want. He longs for Hogwarts, for Quidditch, secret passages, his friends Ron and Hermione.
And what truly makes his misery worse this time is the silence from his friends. He just can't understand why Ron and Hermione haven't sent him any letters all summer, which, as we very quickly discover, is not their fault at all.
Indeed, because right then, in steps our unwelcome guest, Dobby the house elf. Dobby is,
What is?
well, he's a peculiar creature, small with huge bat-like ears and these enormous tennis ball-sized green eyes dressed only in an old pillowcase. He has this very high, squeaky voice and is bound to serve a wizarding family. They can't escape unless given clothes. What's striking is the sheer desperation in Dobby's actions from the get-go.
Desperation and self-punishment. Dobby almost instantly starts banging his head against the wall repeatedly for disobeying his masters, even talking about putting his head in an oven. It's quite disturbing. He reveals he has been intercepting all of Harry's mail from his friends.
Yeah, to make Harry believe they don't like him anymore, hoping he wouldn't want to return to Hogwarts. It's an extreme measure, absolutely, but it's fueled by this chilling warning he has about terrible danger awaiting Harry at school.
And that's where it gets really serious. To prevent Harry's return, Dobby resorts to even more dramatic measures. He uses magic to float Aunt Petunia's prize-dinning chocolate mousse pudding above the dining room table.
Like during the Dursleys' crucial dinner party with the Masons.
Exactly. And then he drops it, ruining everything. This leads to Uncle Vernon physically locking Harry in his room and even putting bars on his window. Harry is left in despair, starving actually, and dreaming of being caged like an animal. It's a literal imprisonment reflecting his emotional one, isn't it?
Totally. It's a really low point.
So just when things seem darkest, we get this dramatic, almost cinematic rescue mission. Late one night, a flying Ford Anglia appears outside Harry's window with Ron, Fred, and George Weasley inside. They use a rope to non-magically pull the window bars right off the wall.
Which is pretty ingenious, actually.
It is. And Fred, with surprising skill, picks the lock to Harry's room, even remarking it's still good to know how to do things without magic. Which is kind of funny, coming from him.
It is. It's a chaotic escape from the Dursleys, with Uncle Vernon in furious pursuit. He even grabs Harry's ankle as the boys pull him into the car. But the emphasis is really on Harry's profound feeling of freedom as the car speeds away from Privet Drive into the night sky. And Hedwig, Harry's owl, escapes her cage with this joyous screech flying alongside the car, finally free herself. It's a powerful moment of liberation.
It truly is, and this rescue immediately ushers in such a stark contrast to his life with the Dursleys. Harry's life at the Weasleys' home, the Burrow, is completely different. The Dursleys like everything neat and orderly, right? But the Weasley home is full of strange and unexpected things. It's chaotic, but incredibly warm and loving. What does this contrast immediately highlight about what Harry truly needed?
It shows you immediately that true wealth isn't about galleons and a vault. It's about connection and unconditional love, really. Mrs. Weasley, though initially furious, understandably, about her son stealing the flying car and risking being seen by muggles.
Ah, she was livid.
Absolutely livid. But she quickly shifts to this overwhelming warmth and care for Harry, constantly trying to feed him, worried he's too thin. And Mr. Weasley, an official in the Ministry of Magic's misuse of Muggle artifacts office, has this wonderfully enthusiastic fascination with Muggle objects like plugs and telephones and flying cars. He's actually more interested in how the car flew than the rules they broke.
Which must infuriate Mrs. Weasley sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure. We also get our first proper glimpse of Ginny Weasley, Ron's younger sister, who is extremely shy around Harry, constantly blushing and even knocking things over. And the Weasley family's financial struggles are evident, too, like they're concerned over buying new school books, especially Gilderoy Lockhart's very expensive collection. This stands in such contrast to Harry's significant inheritance waiting for him at Gringotts, the Wizarding Bank.
Right, the vault full of gold he barely thinks about.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget the amusing denoming of the garden. Ron demonstrates how to denome a garden by grabbing the gnomes, swinging them around his head until they're dizzy, and then just chucking them over the hedge.
He assures Harry it doesn't hurt them.
No, just makes them dizzy so they can't find their way back to their gnome holes. It's a perfect illustration of the quirky, slightly messy, but ultimately loving charm of their life at the Burrow.
So after this chaotic but heartwarming welcome, they attempt to travel to Diagon Alley using flue powder. That's the wizarding travel method allowing quick transport via fireplaces, right? You throw the glittery powder into the fire, step in, and clearly state your destination.
Sounds simple enough.
But Harry's first experience is, well, dizzying and disorienting. He coughs on the ash, mispronounces Diagon Alley, maybe says something like diagonally, and ends up completely lost.
Yeah.
Where does he actually land, and why is this accidental detour so significant?
He lands with a thud in the fireplace of Borgin and Burke's, which is this really dark, shady wizarding shop down in Nocturne Alley. It's filled with odd and frankly sinister objects. You see things like evil-looking masks, human bones, rusty instruments. This accidental landing is crucial because it immediately exposes Harry and you, the reader, to the darker underbelly of the wizarding world. It's not all bustling, bright Diagon Alley. There's this whole other side, just one misspoken word away.
It's quite a shock, and he has to make this tense hiding inside a large black cabinet as Lucius Malfoy and his son Draco enter the shop. It's here that Lucius Malfoy reveals he's there selling off some potentially incriminating dark artifacts. Why? Because he's worried about ministry searches spurred by a new Muggle Protection Act, which he explicitly and sneeringly links to Arthur Weasley.
And Lucius's chilling declaration, something like, "I trust my son will amount to more than Arthur Weasley and his Muggle-loving sentimentality," alongside his disdain for Muggle influence. It isn't just a throwaway line, it's a stark revelation. It shows us that even in this world brimming with magic, the most dangerous curses aren't always spells, but inherited hatred and this rigid belief in pure-blood supremacy. This moment is a concise, chilling insight into the deep societal rot simmering beneath the surface.
Fortunately, Harry manages to slip out and has a very welcome, fortuitous reunion with Hagrid, who then helps him find Hermione and the rest of the Weasleys back in the main part of Diagon Alley. Hagrid even gives Harry a bit of a telling off for not writing back, and Harry has to quickly explain about Dobby hiding all the letters. Then the scene shifts to Flourish and Blott's bookstore, which is absolutely packed, bustling with a huge crowd for Gilderoy Lockhart's book signing.
Ugh, Lockhart. This is where we properly meet him. Handsome, incredibly vain, blonde hair, bright blue eyes, dressed in forget-me-not blue robes, surrounded by stacks of his own books and these large, moving self-portraits that are literally winking at the crowd. He's unbelievably self-promotional. He spots Harry, pulls him right onto the stage for a photo op for the Daily Prophet.
Mortifying for Harry, of course.
Completely. And then Lockhart grandly announces his new position as defense against the dark arts teacher at Hogwarts and gives Harry the entire set of his works free of charge. It's a spectacle of celebrity, but it definitely hints at something far less impressive beneath that dazzling smile.
What a showman. But the moment quickly sours, doesn't it? We get this really heated confrontation between Draco Malfoy and the Weasleys. Malfoy taunts Harry about his fame, insults Ginny's secondhand books, and mocks Ron.
Saying things like, "Bet you love that, didn't you, Potter? Famous Harry Potter can't even go into a bookshop without making the front page." Just pure spite.
And this escalates into an actual physical fight between Arthur Weasley and Lucius Malfoy right there in the shop, scattering books everywhere. It has to be broken up by Hagrid. What does this really heated public exchange reveal about the wizarding world beyond just, good versus evil?
It really highlights the underlying social and financial prejudices. It's not just about pure blood ideology, though that's certainly part of it with the Malfoys. It's also about class and perceived status. Malfoy's disdain for the Weasleys for being poor and, in his view, blood traders for being muggle-friendly is just palpable. Hagrid's remark afterwards that the Malfoys are bad eggs and not worth the trouble underscores how deep and entrenched these feuds really are.
So as Harry finally breathes that sigh of relief, escaping the Dursleys and embracing the, let's say, loving chaos of the burrow, you might think his troubles are momentarily over. But in fact, as they journey back to Hogwarts, it becomes pretty clear the challenges are only just beginning to truly mount.
Absolutely. The Weasley family departure for Hogwarts is typically chaotic. It's marked by forgotten items and repeated returns to the burrow. George forgets his filibuster fireworks. Fred almost leaves his broomstick. Ginny has to run back for her diary.
Yeah.
It's a mad dash to King's Cross Station.
It really is. And then Harry and Ron arrive late at the station, only to realize they physically cannot get through the magical barrier between platforms 9 and 10 to get onto platform 934. The barrier seems to have sealed itself, and they watch in horror as the Hogwarts Express pulls away without them. In a moment of panic, and let's face it, really poor judgment,
Definitely poor judgment.
they make the desperate and highly rule-breaking decision to fly Mr. Weasley's enchanted Fort Anglia all the way to Hogwarts. What's the immediate implication of this, reckless act?
Well, apart from being completely against school rules and potentially the law, it's a long, monotonous, and extremely risky journey. They're hungry, thirsty, the invisibility booster starts failing, and they're constantly risking being seen by muggles, which, as a newspaper clipping later proves, actually happens. Several muggles spot them. They even joke nervously about worrying about hitting airplanes. This act isn't just about getting to school, it's about pushing boundaries in a big way, and the immediate consequences that follow set a pattern for the rest of the year, really.
And those consequences hit immediately and hard. Upon finally reaching the Hogwarts grounds, the car suddenly malfunctions. It starts sputtering and coughing smoke. It loses power and crashes right into the Whomping Willow, this ancient, violent, sentient tree on the grounds that actively attacks the car, punching it with its branches.
Sounds terrifying.
Oh, absolutely. Ron's wand breaks during the ordeal, snapped almost in two, held together by just a thread of unicorn hair. Eventually, the battered car manages to eject them and their luggage, then drives off on its own into the Forbidden Forest, seemingly having had enough. Ron just stares after it and says, "Dad's gonna kill me."
The fallout from this arrival is swift and severe. Professor Snape catches them sneaking into the castle and is absolutely furious, accusing them of wanting to make a grand entrance and seeking attention. He even produces the Evening Prophet newspaper clipping as proof of their flight, highlighting their blatant breach of the International Statute of Secrecy. He acidly reminds Ron that his father works in the misuse of Muggle artifacts office, twisting the knife, essentially.
Professors Dumbledore and McGonagall arrive then. McGonagall is visibly angry. You can almost see sparks flying from her, while Dumbledore just expresses this deep, disappointed sadness, which might be even worse. Harry and Ron try to justify their actions, saying the barrier wouldn't let them through, but Harry realizes with a jolt that he didn't even think to send Hedwig ahead for help. Dumbledore's decision is arguably lenient, no expulsion, but a strict warning and detention for both boys.
And if you thought Snape's fury or Dumbledore's disappointment was the worst of it, the next morning delivers another blow. At the breakfast table in the Great Hall, Mrs. Weasley's fury is unleashed via a howler. This bright red envelope arrives, shouts Ron's name, and then Mrs. Weasley's voice, magically amplified to fill the entire hall, bellows her embarrassment and anger at him.
Oh, the public shame.
Exactly. The booming voice warns Ron against any further rule-breaking, even threatening to bring him straight back home. Harry feels immense guilt, especially hearing her mention how much trouble Arthur Weasley is now in at work because of the car. It subtly hints at Harry's developing sense of responsibility, I think.
Speaking of disasters, Lockhart's lessons quickly prove to be just as bad, if not worse, than their arrival. During their first herbology class, Lockhart pulls Harry aside, not to help, but to criticize him for supposedly seeking attention with the flying car incident. He even claims it's his fault for giving Harry a taste of fame back in Diagon Alley.
It's unbelievable arrogance, isn't it? He dismisses Harry's scar, saying something like, "Fame's a fickle friend, Harry. Celebrity is as celebrity does," and boasts about winning Witch Weekly's Most Charming Smile Award 5 times. It's almost comical if it weren't so infuriating.
It truly is. Lockhart's ego is a huge insight here. In any world, charisma without competence and that relentless focus on self-promotion, it can often blind people to genuine danger and lead to outright incompetence in positions of trust. In herbology, they also learn about mandrakes, these peculiar baby-like plants whose scream is fatal to adults, though the young ones they're handling will only knock you out for several hours. Students must wear earmuffs when repotting them.
Meanwhile, Ron's broken wand continues to cause chaos during Transfiguration class. He tries to turn a beetle into a button, but it keeps going wrong, emitting foul smoke and strange noises. It's clear that wand is going to be a recurring problem.
And then Lockhart's first defense against the dark arts class, it's just legendary for its sheer bewildering incompetence.
You mean the freshly caught Cornish pixies?
Slight chuckle, exactly. He unveils a cage full of these tiny, electric blue, incredibly mischievous creatures, declares they're devilishly tricky little bladers, and then promptly releases them into the classroom.
Expecting them to, what, behave? And then he almost immediately gets hoisted up by his robes onto the chandelier by them before diving under his desk and yelling, round 'em up, they're only pixies." He leaves 3 second years Harry, Ron, and Hermione to somehow sort out the absolute chaos. It's almost unbelievable.
It really is. That scene vividly demonstrates that the gravest threats aren't always, dark wizards with complex plans. Sometimes it's just pure, unadulterated ineptitude in a position of authority.
So true. And as the mystery starts to deepen and the personal stakes really begin to rise, we see prejudice becoming much more overt. Leading up to the first Gryffindor versus Slytherin Quidditch match of the season, Slytherin suddenly gains this huge advantage with brand new, top-of-the-line Nimbus 2001 racing brooms. How? They were bought for the entire team by Lucius Malfoy.
And the condition, his son, Draco, is made the new Slytherin Seeker.
Exactly. It's during a confrontation about this on the Quidditch pitch that Malfoy uses that truly vile derogatory term mudblood against Hermione after she criticizes him for essentially buying his way onto the team. Ron immediately explains to Harry that it's about the foulest thing you can call someone with non-magical parents, a really grave insult signifying this core belief in pure-blood supremacy.
Ron reacts with absolute fury, trying to curse Malfoy with his broken wand.
Which, of course, spectacularly backfires because the wand is broken. It hits Ron instead, sending him flying backwards and causing him to uncontrollably vomit slugs.
It sounds awful. Harry and Hermione have to take a mortified, green-faced Ron to Hagrid's hut for help, while that annoying first year, Colin Creevey, tries to snap photos of the embarrassing scene. It's here, while Ron is recuperating, that Hagrid offers an unusual, unguarded criticism of Lockhart's teaching skills. He reveals that Lockhart was literally the only person who applied for the Defense Against the Dark Arts job. Why? Because, as Hagrid puts it, terrible things have happened, people are scared. This really emphasizes the brewing dread, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It implies a wider problem of fear that's so pervasive that even qualified wizards are steering clear this notoriously cursed post. Later, during Harry's detention with Lockhart, which consists entirely of addressing Lockhart's fan mail, Harry has that truly chilling experience. He suddenly hears a disembodied, sinister voice, cold, venomous, whispering, Come to me, let me rip you, let me kill you.
So scary, and Lockhart, humming away, cannot hear it at all, which just adds this profound layer of mystery and dread. Is Harry imagining it, or is it real?
Right. This leads indirectly to a chance encounter with Argus Filch, the Hogwarts caretaker, who catches Harry tracking mud into the castle after Quidditch practice. While waiting in Filch's office to be punished, Harry accidentally discovers a quick spell correspondence magic course envelope addressed to Filch. What does this revelation tell us about the hidden resentments simmering within Hogwarts itself?
It reveals that Filch is a squib, someone born into a wizarding family but without any magical ability themselves. It suddenly explains so much about his deep bitterness and hatred for the students, particularly their casual use of magic. It reveals another layer of prejudice, really, even against those within the magical world who lack magical ability. Nearly headless Nick, the Gryffindor ghost, luckily provides a helpful distraction by persuading Peeves the poltergeist to cause chaos, allowing Harry to slip away before Filch gets back.
And finally, the sequence culminates at the bizarre and gloomy atmosphere of nearly headless Nick's 500th Death Day party. It's held in one of the draftiest dungeons, filled with hundreds of translucent, shimmering ghosts, ghostly food, and freezing temperatures. It's here, amidst the ghostly wailing music, that Harry hears the chilling voice again. Blood! I smell blood! Let me rip tear! Kill! Time to kill! This time it sounds clearer, closer, more urgent.
He has to follow it, doesn't he?
He does. Harry, Ron, and Hermione leave the party and follow the voice upwards through the castle, leading them to a terrifying discovery on the second floor. Mrs. Norris, Filch's beloved cat, is found petrified, hanging rigidly by her tail from a torch bracket, eyes wide and staring. And on the wall beside her, an ominous message is written, glistening in the torchlight in what looks disturbingly like blood. The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware.
Chilling. And just then, Draco Malfoy appears, a gleeful look on his face, and his pronouncement, "Enemies of the air, beware, you'll be next, mudbloods," just solidifies the prejudiced intent behind the attack and confirms this is a direct, targeted threat. The mystery just exploded wide open.
Absolutely. Now, with this terrifying discovery, the Chamber of Secrets and the identity of the heir become the absolute central focus. Filch arrives, finds Mrs. Norris, and is utterly devastated, immediately accusing Harry of killing her, partly because he believes Harry acted out of spite after discovering he was a squib from the Quickspell letter.
But Professor Dumbledore arrives, along with McGonagall, Snape, and Lockhart. Dumbledore calmly examines Mrs. Norris and confirms she isn't dead, but petrified by a very powerful dark spell.
Professor Snape, ever suspicious of Harry, immediately questions why the trio wasn't at the Halloween feast, implying they were up to no good. However, Professor McGonagall defends Harry, reasonably stating the dark magic involved was far too advanced for a second-year student. Dumbledore ultimately lets them go, maintaining Harry is innocent until proven guilty, though Harry makes the crucial decision not to mention the mysterious voice he heard, which, ironically, only isolates him further down the line.
With the whole school now gripped by fear and speculation, Hermione, naturally, heads straight for the library for diligent research. During a particularly dull history of magic class, Professor Binns, the ghost teacher, is finally, reluctantly persuaded by Hermione to recount the legend of the Chamber of Secrets. He explains Hogwarts' founding by the four greatest witches and wizards of the age: Godric Gryffindor, Rowena Ravenclaw, Helga Hufflepuff, and Salazar Slytherin about 1,000 years ago. What does this ancient history reveal about the origins of the prejudices they're now facing?
It reveals Slytherin's fundamental disagreement with the other three founders. He believed that magical education should be kept only for entirely magical families, what we'd call purebloods. He distrusted Muggle-borns. This disagreement became so severe that Slytherin eventually left the school. But the legend, Binns explains, states that before leaving, Slytherin secretly built a hidden chamber of secrets within the castle, concealed a monster inside it. A monster that only his true heir could control. The purpose: to one day return and purge the school of all who were unworthy to study magic, meaning Muggle-borns. It's a stark reminder, isn't it, that even the most seemingly secure institutions can harbor these deep-seated historical divisions and hatreds.
Definitely. And as these events unfold and the legend spreads, students begin to actively avoid Harry, whispering behind their hands, genuinely believing he might be Slytherin's heir responsible for the attack. This suspicion solidifies after a crucial, if small, discovery Ron makes near the scene. Spiders are seen fleeing the area where Mrs. Norris was attacked, scuttling away into a crack in the wall as if running from something terrifying. Ron, who absolutely hates spiders, is particularly unnerved by this.
But the most damning piece of evidence against Harry, the thing that really turns the tide of opinion, comes during a disastrous dueling club demonstration, ironically set up by Lockhart to supposedly teach students to defend themselves. Malfoy conjures a long black snake during his duel with Harry.
Using the spell Serpensortia.
Right. And as the snake rears up, looking like it might attack a Hufflepuff student named Justin Finch Fletchley, Harry instinctively, unconsciously yells at it in Parseltongue snake language, telling it to leave him alone. He doesn't even realize he's not speaking English.
But to everyone else, especially Justin, it looks and sounds like Harry is egging the snake on, commanding it. It horrifies and terrifies the other students. Why is this reaction so extreme?
Ron and Hermione had to explain it to a bewildered Harry afterwards. Parseltongue, the ability to speak to snakes, is an incredibly rare gift, and it's famously associated with dark wizards. Most notably, Salazar Slytherin himself was a Parselmouth, and his symbol was a serpent. So Harry demonstrating this ability makes him seem like the prime suspect, the heir of Slytherin. Some Hufflepuff students, led by Ernie Macmillan, are later overheard actively theorizing that Harry only survived Voldemort because he himself is a powerful dark wizard in the making. It perfectly illustrates how an innocent, even unique ability can be twisted by fear and ignorance into damning evidence.
It's a terrible position for him to be in. Faced with this dire situation where even his friends look at him slightly differently, Hermione devises an ambitious and very rule-breaking plan: brewing Polyjuice Potion. Explain that again.
Right. This is an incredibly complex and dangerous potion. When brewed correctly, it allows the drinker to temporarily assume the physical appearance of another person. Their plan is to use it to transform into Slytherin students, specifically Crabbe and Goyle, so they can sneak into the Slytherin common room and interrogate Malfoy, whom they suspect is the heir. It requires rare ingredients, including lacewing flies, leeches, fluxweed picked at the full moon, not grass, and, crucially, a piece of the person they wish to turn into, like a hare.
Securing these ingredients is a major challenge in itself. The recipe is in a book in the restricted section of the library. How do they manage that?
Hermione, quite cleverly, manipulates Lockhart. She flatters him, feigning interest in his books, and manages to get his signature on a permission slip for the restricted section book, Most Potent Potions, without him realizing its true purpose. He probably thinks she just admires him.
And the other ingredients, some are in Snape's private stores.
Yes. So during potions class, Harry creates a daring diversion. He deliberately throws a firework, one of Fred and George's filibuster fireworks, into Goyle's cauldron, causing it to explode, splattering Malfoy and making his nose swell up dramatically. In the ensuing chaos, Hermione deftly sneaks over to Snape's stores and pockets the necessary components, Boom Slang Skin and Bicorn Horn. They discover the potion will take about a month to brew, setting a ticking clock on their investigation. It just highlights the sheer lengths they're willing to go to, even breaking major school rules, to uncover the truth and help Harry.
In the meantime, however, the attacks intensify, and more shocking revelations come to light. During the Gryffindor-Slytherin Quidditch match, things take a terrifying turn. A rogue bludger, one of the heavy black balls that fly around trying to knock players off their brooms, starts relentlessly attacking only Harry, ignoring everyone else.
It seems possessed, changing direction in midair to pursue him. He manages to dodge it repeatedly while still searching for the snitch, but eventually it slams into his right arm, hitting his elbow hard and breaking the bone. He still catches the snitch, winning the match for Gryffindor before falling off his broom.
And then naturally it gets worse. Lockhart rushes onto the pitch, pushes everyone aside, claiming he knows the perfect charm to fix Harry's arm. Instead of mending the bones, his disastrous attempt removes him entirely, leaving Harry with what Madame Pomfrey later describes as looking like a large pink rubber glove.
Right.
Utterly useless.
Oh, Lockhart. So Harry is rushed to the hospital wing, where a very disapproving Madame Pomfrey begins the painful overnight process of regrowing his arm bones using a foul-tasting potion called Skelegro.
And it's while he's lying there, in pain, late that night, that Dobby, the house elf, appears silently at his bedside. And he makes a truly shocking confession.
Yes. Dobby tearfully admits that he was the one who closed the barrier at platform 934, and he was the one who bewitched the bludger. Why? All in desperate, misguided attempts to injure Harry badly enough or scare him badly enough to make him leave Hogwarts. Dobby explicitly states his motive, to protect Harry Potter from the terrible dangers within the school, revealing, his eyes wide with terror, the Chamber of Secrets has been opened again.
Wow. Just as Dobby seems about to reveal who opened it, or perhaps more about the danger, he hears footsteps, panics, inflicts some kind of self-punishment by smashing a water jug over his own head, and vanishes with a crack just moments before Dumbledore and McGonagall enter the hospital wing.
And their arrival isn't a social call. They've come because they need to bring in another victim of the unseen attacker. The first-year photographer, Colin Creevey. He's found petrified near the library, holding his camera.
And when Dumbledore examines the camera, it's found to be melted inside, emitting puffs of black smoke. This seems to confirm for the professors, beyond doubt, that the Chamber of Secrets has indeed been opened again, and whatever is inside it is attacking students.
The dueling club, announced by Lockhart shortly after this as a way to teach student self-defense, though probably more for his own ego, turns into another public disaster that ironically seals Harry's fate in the eyes of the school. Lockhart predictably showcases his incompetence by being easily disarmed and sent flying by Snape in a demonstration duel.
Serves him right, maybe.
Perhaps. Then Snape suggests pairing up students. Harry gets paired with Malfoy, and during their duel, Malfoy conjures that large black snake using Serpensortia.
And this is where Harry instinctively and quite unconsciously shouts at the snake in Parseltongue again, telling it, "Leave him alone," trying to stop it from advancing on Justin Finch-Fletchley. But hissing in snake language just horrifies and terrifies the other students, especially Justin, who believe Harry is actually commanding the snake to attack him. It's a moment that irrevocably shapes Harry's public image, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's the visual confirmation for many of what they already suspected. Ron and Hermione later have to explain again just how bad Parseltongue looks, its dark connotations, its strong association with Salazar Slytherin. It cements the school's widespread belief that Harry Potter must be the heir of Slytherin. It's a classic case of fear and public perception completely outweighing reality based on a historical association rather than Harry's actual intent, which was protective.
So, as Harry's isolation grows palpable, with students openly pointing and whispering, actively avoiding him, believing he is the heir, he overhears some Hufflepuff students, including Ernie Macmillan, earnestly discussing the evidence against him. His Parseltongue ability, being found near Mrs. Norris, Colin being attacked after trying to talk to him. They even seriously theorize he survived Voldemort's attack as a baby because he himself is destined to be a powerful dark wizard.
It's awful for him. Then, leaving the library one afternoon, Harry stumbles upon the chilling discovery of two more victims, petrified together in a deserted corridor. Justin Finch Fletchley, the Hufflepuff boy from the dueling club, and nearly headless Nick, the Gryffindor ghost. Justin is described as stiff and cold, frozen mid-stride, while Nick is pearl-white and transparent but rigid, like dark smoke, frozen in a shocked expression floating inches off the floor.
And just as Harry makes this horrifying find, Peeves the poltergeist spots him and bellows at the top of his voice, "Attack! Another attacked! No mortal or ghost is safe. Run for your lives, Attack." This, of course, dramatically draws a crowd, finding Harry standing right there at the scene of the latest petrifications, solidifying suspicions against him and leaving him looking guiltier than ever, truly vulnerable.
This deep dive has really pulled us through a, well, tumultuous start to Harry's second year at Hogwarts, hasn't it?
Yeah.
A time marked by these mysterious dangers and rapidly escalating suspicions. From that miserable birthday with the Dursleys to public humiliation, broken bones, Ron vomiting slugs, and these terrifying accusations. Harry's world has just been completely turned upside down by a reopened Chamber of Secrets and the horrifying widespread belief that he might actually be its heir.
Harry's story here really highlights how easily fear and just preconceived notions can lead to false accusations and terrible isolation. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How do we truly know who someone is beyond the rumors and the surface appearances? And how do we challenge unfair perceptions, especially when the stakes feel so incredibly high?
Perhaps the most provocative thought leaving this part of the story is this. If ancient prejudices and hidden evils can resurface so easily inside a magical school, supposedly the safest place in the wizarding world for young witches and wizards, what does that imply about the world outside its walls? And with the Chamber of Secrets now truly open, its monsters still lurking unseen, who will be the next victim? And how on earth can Harry clear his name when almost everyone believes he's the one behind it all?